All right, man. How are you? How are you going?
I'm good, thanks, Josh. How are you, mate?
Good, good. Can you introduce yourself real quick?
So my name's Murray. I'm 28 and I'm a runner and into my CrossFit and gym work.
That's a good intro. I usually just get my name's X. So no, that's, everyone's different, but that's awesome, man. So I guess we'll dive right into it. But what result did you achieve while you were working with me?
I was able to achieve actually finishing a half marathon, which was the main big goal, and we
Yeah,
got there in the end. Yeah,
yeah. First half marathon.
yeah.
Yeah. And I guess we'll touch on a few of the issues you had leading into before we kind of worked together and how we went through those. But um in addition to working towards a marathon, like that was obviously the bigger goal. But there was a lot of stuff around like your nutrition and GI
Mm,
distress and stuff like that. So I guess from a nutrition, energy standpoint, like how long do you feel like it took you to kind of start seeing progress with how you were feeling and how you were performing?
yeah. So probably once I got onto the program, it was maybe within the first 2 to 3 weeks. Um, as you said, I was coming in and I was sort of only doing my own little investigation as to my own GI discomfort and things I'd read online, and then sort of like you try and test things yourself, and if you can figure it out yourself, then like, oh, great, amazing. I don't need to go see anyone. But unfortunately, it got to
Yeah,
a point where it's like, this is not working.
yeah,
I need additional help. Um, and so it was a case of like we sort of whittled down certain things in my diet that, oh, this could be the trigger. And yeah, within 2 to 3 weeks, we sort of, I think we pretty much nutted out straight away, like, oh, this was the cause of it. And you were able to help avoid that in my diet, but then also still fueling me enough to be able to go out and do my 7 to 10K runs in the middle of the week. And then my
yeah,
bigger, larger 15 to 20K runs on the weekend and get through those pretty well. So,
yeah. As well as like people forget like general day-to-day life and the stuff you do outside of
mm,
training as well. You also need a fuel for that stuff. But I guess for you, like you were probably a bit of like a rarer case. So it was cool to focus on performance, but also how you were affected like daily from that GI stuff. So like what was
mm,
life like before we started kind of working together? We kind of touched on it, like the gut stuff was the issue, but what was it
mm,
like going for a run, just general day-to-day kind of living?
yeah. So, like, I work a desk job. So it wasn't so much, it actually thankfully didn't really affect me too much. Actually, I'll go back a step and say it would affect me in the morning at breakfast. If there were certain things I was having at breakfast in the morning, probably like mid-morning, actually start to feel upset and uncomfortable and need to go to the toilet quite a lot
Mm,
until sort of like lunchtime, where I'd eat something else to actually like flush my system out, and give it actual like different nutrients, I guess, is probably what was happening there.
yeah,
But then come to running, into my running in the afternoon, it was actually it was getting to a point there where I was getting frustrated because it wasn't resolving itself, or what I was trying wasn't working. And so not only did it have a physical effect on me, but mentally as well. Before these runs, I'm thinking I've got to go out and run 8 or 9Ks here. And I just know systematically my body after 4 or 5Ks will start to feel uncomfortable, and I'll start to feel the need to go to the toilet. Um, and that, like, from a mental edge, is like, I actually don't want to run this distance because I know I'm going to have to, at some point on the run, try and find a restroom. And that's not
yeah.
what, that's not a great scenario to be in. Um, so yeah, before joining, it was quite a mental battle as well as physical. Yeah.
Yeah, there is always that aspect of it, and because it's always in the back of your head, because that's you're going off experience. That's all you can kind of base what you can kind of expect when you are to go for a run or exercise, right? And you are working at
Mm,
those higher intensities, it does impact digestion, all that kind of stuff. But I guess from that standpoint, like obviously we've got the half marathon that we will dive into, but from the gut standpoint, like what specific changes have you experienced since then? Like in terms of how your gut operated throughout the program on runs, for example.
Mm. Actually, once we figured out what the potential causes could have been, and we sort of programmed for that, and programmed into my diet things that were going to benefit me.
Mm.
I saw, like as I was saying earlier, I think like within 2 to 3 weeks, just that comfort coming back to knowing that I can get through a short run or a long run and not have GI discomfort or any discomfort at all. It was more so I actually felt more energized with the things that I was eating. Like I would be out there and I'd feel energy.
Yeah.
And I think I remember saying to you earlier in my program, I think I'd been in like 2 weeks and I went and did a 7K run and felt that great that I went and blitzed like 4 minute 30K pace. And where you were like, Murray, you need to be like, it's just an easy run. But I was like, no, this feels amazing. Like I want to get out and like just get after it sort of thing. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I still remember that. I was pumped. I was so pumped because like you got to be excited first, right? And
mm,
like we often get caught in the numbers and the data and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, like it's exercise, you do it to make you happy, and if you feel really good, like
mm,
that's the whole point of doing it. And then tying it all into progression and working towards
yeah.
specific goals. Um, which for you obviously was that half marathon, the first half marathon. So how did that go for you? Give us a bit of a rundown of your experience there and the build to that.
So I thought the way that you planned my training block was really good. I think the incremental build up week on week for the 2 to 3 months beforehand, like because my target each week was to do 3 runs, 2 runs during the week, and my longer run on the weekend. Um, and that's sometimes difficult with my job because like I could run overtime and I might not be able to go for a run until like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, which is quite unusual for me. Like I try to aim for a bit earlier in the day, but to to stick to the program and for you to increase incrementally each week. So I'm increasing my kilometers per week and properly preparing myself for a half marathon, which is I've never done a distance like that before.
Mm,
I found that extremely beneficial. And then along the way as well, there was like obviously like the small deload weeks here and there, just so I wasn't completely stressing myself out and giving myself enough time to rest and recover to go again. Um, but then I think what you got perfectly like accurate as well at the back end was that small little week and a half, 2 week taper right
mm,
beforehand. And so just on the morning or even on the Saturday before the half marathon, I just felt ready to go. Like my body, I felt like had fueled properly, like I'd carb load correctly per what we discussed and what we set. Um, and then come race morning, like I was just eager to get started. Now I don't know if that was a mix of start line nerves and anxiety, just wanting to get started and get going. But then yeah, got through the start and I felt very strong. Um, and I know we discussed a lot beforehand is like not get sucked into just going out and absolutely blitzing it off the bat. And in my mind, like I'm sitting there for the first K or two, and I'm looking at my watch, and it's like 4 minute Ks. I'm like, geez, nah, Josh is going to kill me if he saw this. And I was like, just like slow it down a little bit, like rein it in. Like don't use it all up too, like don't use the energy up too soon. Pace yourself. Um, and got into like a really nice groove. Where you sort of start where you passed me down in Darling
yeah.
Harbour and was in like quite a comfortable groove where I wasn't overextending myself, but then I wasn't like being too cautious and comfortable and not going for it in a roundabout way, if that makes
Mm,
sense. But then unfortunately, after about 10K, sort of like in the Piedmont section of the course, just started to get a bit of hamstring strain. Um, and I kept pushing for as long as I could. And it probably got to around kilometer 12 or 13 where I was like, okay, no, I can't keep running. I have to sort of stop. And instead of consistently running, I was sort of like a run walk finish for the last 7 or 8 Ks. Um, so I'd try and run for like 5 minutes to the point where it was maybe starting to become a bit unbearable, and then I'd walk and take a breath and then start jogging again. And that's sort of how I got through the last quarter of the half marathon. Um, but yeah, that was race day, and unfortunately didn't go entirely to plan, but that's just fitness and running in general. So
Hardly ever goes to plan, mate. You spend weeks and months training for one day and then
yeah.
something happens and you're like, oh, it's the worst. So that's why we
Mm,
always speak about like reflecting on the journey. And for you, I think we did that a fair bit, just kind of bringing you back, just kind of like, fuck, mate, like look where you started, look where you are, look what you've
mm,
done, kind of thing. And that's always something that like people forget. It's all about like the journey to get there. You're doing the
yeah.
hard thing, like you're doing the work to get there, and then
Mm,
the day is just a celebration.
yeah.
But it is hard to mentally not put so much weight
Yeah.
on it. But for you,
Yeah.
even to finish it as well, like with that
Mm,
happening, because it was a rolling hilly course, a lot of people actually do get injured. It's just an anomaly, right? But you still finish in a
yeah.
bloody amazing time for your first half marathon,
Uh, I,
especially with
I,
that.
I think it took a couple weeks to actually digest and fully take in what I'd done, because I think there's such a big social media push these days. Everywhere you see, people are like putting their times up of what they've done a half or a full or what the normal is. But realistically, like running a half marathon in itself is not normal. You just can't wake
No,
up the next morning and go and run one. So it took me a couple of weeks to sort of digest what I'd done, and like a few other people within the fitness industry in my year saying like, you did a sub 2 hour half marathon with pretty much one hamstring. Like,
yeah,
come on, like give yourself some flowers. So
exactly.
yeah,
We all
yeah,
gotta we all
pretty
gotta
pretty
touch
pretty
grass,
proud
mate.
of myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's
exactly.
it.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? And there's always another race, but it's what you take from it. So it's all the learnings and the processes
Mm,
and the growth as like a human, right? To kind of
mm,
go through it all. But like I just we've spoken about this at length and privately, but I'm so pumped for you. Unfortunately, like we said, you didn't get the result you wanted. Your training data showed a different outcome, but that's it, right? Like you look back at that and you go, holy shit, before I couldn't run 5Ks without having stomach issues. Now
mm,
I'm doing a progression 19K run in a block of a 45K week and feeling amazing. Like that's the stuff you
yeah.
kind of got to reflect on. And to work with you was awesome. Just to see that and you putting in the work week on week. Because it's
Mm,
like I say it all the time, most plans work, right? Anyone
mm,
can notch up a plan. It's like the implementation and actually doing it and trusting the process. That's a whole nother thing. Um, so I'm just grateful that you put your trust in me to help you to help you get there.
no,
Because that's obviously
absolutely.
like a big thing. People don't really know. Like a lot of people don't really know
Mm,
anyone from a grain of salt. Um, but yeah, it was awesome to see you progress. It was awesome to work with you, and I'm bloody keen to see what you do in the future because I know that you got a
mm.
few races that you want to eye off as
Few
well.
few plans, yeah, few plans. But no,
Awesome, mate.
I think the thing like, it was for me is obviously not scary, but it's like uncertainty it's like jumping into the unknown with a nutritionist, because some nutritionists are just out there and they give you the rinse and repeat the same thing all the time, and like, but what works for one person won't work for someone else. So and I think the thing that made me end up wanting to work with you is because I could see you were passionate about helping people, which I think is the biggest thing. Like, it's all well and good if you're smart and intelligent about what you do, but actually having the passion and drive to want to help people and make people better. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, oh sick. I want to work with this guy. Like he looks
Yeah.
like a legend. He's passionate about helping people. Like, let's get on board and let's give it a crack. Like, what's the
Yeah.
worst that can happen?
Yeah.
So
No, I love it,
yeah,
mate.
absolutely.
I'll take that. That's a great compliment. I'll take that. I might even just clip that one section. I'll just play that to myself at night time before I go
Like
to bed. No, awesome, mate. Awesome. Well, I guess from like your perspective, you probably already said it, but for someone who's thinking about potentially working with me, like what would you say to them?
just give it a go. But if you give it a go, you've got to be 100% in it. You can't be 70% in, 30% out. Like you've got to fully commit,
Yeah.
because that's where you'll get the result. So, yeah, all I can say is like you're a smart man. You know what you're doing. Like just yeah, jump in and have a crack.
Oh, you're a legend, mate. Thank you. Thank you so much. And like I said, like absolute pleasure to work with you and very excited to see what you do in the
No,
future. So
likewise, man. I appreciate all your help.
anytime, mate, anytime. Easy. All right. Cheers, bud. Bye.
Cheers.